You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Well, good morning to you and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I want to get you inside this news conference going on right now in Tampa. This is Matthew Fodor. He's the special agent in charge with the FBI Tampa field office. Hearing from him right now, we just heard a moment ago from the U.S. Attorney Gregory Kehoe. They're talking about the arrest of 12 members of a Lakeland-based gang, the Hood Boys. Now facing charges for PPP loan fraud. The allegations are that they basically made up businesses and business records, ended up getting tens of thousands of dollars in loans and spending it instead on cars, sporting goods, and jewelry. Let's go ahead and listen in as this news conference continues.
That there's a representative from the Department of Labor is not here, but the Department of Labor participated as well. If I can just bring Tom Sylvester up from the Postal Service for a few words. Tom?
Thank you, sir. Good morning. My name's Tom Sylvester, and I'm the Assistant Inspector in charge for the Miami Division of the United States Postal Inspection Service, the law enforcement and security arm of the Postal Service. I would like to thank U.S. Attorney Kehoe, Assistant U.S. Attorney Buchanan, the FBI, the Lakeland Police Department, and our other law enforcement partners for their efforts to bring these individuals to justice for their crimes. These partnerships showcase a collaborative approach to leveraging the resources and investigative tools of many agencies to protect not only those in our local communities and state, but the rule of law. For 250 years, postal inspectors have tirelessly investigated those who would rob the public of the trust they place in the U.S. mail. It's difficult not to be angry about this case because it highlights the lengths to which criminals will go to defraud the government and every taxpayer to satisfy their greed. As my esteemed colleagues noted, these individuals saw dollar signs when they devised a scheme to steal funds Congress had allocated to help people in need during the unprecedented coronavirus pandemic. That was a time when the goal was, first and foremost, to assist those struggling to make ends meet during an economic shutdown and ensure businesses could continue to make payroll for their employees. Instead, these individuals took advantage of an opportunity to cheat the government by lining their pockets through false loan applications and other fraudulent acts. While many may believe this is a victimless crime, these scammers deprived potentially deserving Americans of critical funds when they may have been desperately needed, and degraded a system put in place to serve small businesses. If you're wondering why postal inspectors are here today, the answer is this crime involved the U.S. mail. When you use the U.S. mail to commit a crime, that brings the full weight and resources of the Postal Inspection Service to bear. This is a reminder to those who may believe they have escaped accountability for their crimes. Postal inspectors will relentlessly pursue those who undermine the rule of law, ensuring they face justice for their illegal actions. Though many years may pass, no person who attacks the U.S. mail or uses the mail to commit crime is safe from arrest and prosecution. Thank you.
One thing, ladies and gentlemen, I neglected to mention, the fraud just involved with these 12 individuals in these indictments is over $230,000 in a relatively short period of time. I just wanted to put that on the record. You can review that in the indictments that you'll have that are on public right now. I'd also like to bring up the Chief of Police for the Lakeland Police Department, Sammy Taylor, for a few words. Chief?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. This case started, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. The case started as an investigation into a criminal gang who operated out of the city of Lakeland, as you've heard here already this morning. On January 30th of 2023, we had a shooting that occurred within the city limits of Lakeland on Iowa Avenue and Plum Street, where a dark vehicle drove by and fired multiple shots, injured 11 folks. You may remember that shooting. It made quite a stir in Lakeland. 2 were injured critically. The shooting was believed to be a target attack and was linked to drug sales. Nothing to do with PPR. It was at the time a drug sale. Along with our many state, federal, and local partners, and with the hard work of many law enforcement officers and detectives, 2 of the principal suspects involved pled guilty to federal charges in connection with that shooting in October of 2023. Multiple other members were arrested for various drug charges, but the investigation didn't stop there, and which brings us to where we are here today. While furthering this investigation, investigators uncovered a large amount of fraud being conducted by this criminal gang, which leads us, as I said, to where we are in the group of men standing behind me today. While fraud cases take a lot of detailed behind-the-scenes work, we were certainly not deterred. I hope you have heard here today, and what we're telling you today sends a message to our folks in Central Florida that our local, state, and federal partners will continue to work together, and we work extremely well together, I assure you. Whether it's a shooting, gang activity, or fraud, we will investigate and work together to stop these far-reaching criminal activities. So on behalf of our officers at the Lakeland Police Department, the citizens of Lakeland, and myself personally, I personally want to thank U.S. Attorney for your involvement in this, Mr. Kehoe, the FBI Tampa office, the United States Postal Inspector, the Labor Department, and the Polk County Sheriff's Office, who helped us along the way as well, for their outstanding work and cooperation to bring this case to where we're at today. I'd also like to thank you guys, the media, for helping bring attention to this and highlighting some of the outstanding work that was done by some of the men and women in the Postal Service, the Lakeland Police Department, and the FBI. So again, thank you.
Can I ask you to clarify this? So this started with that shooting? Because I remember the shooting. It started there and then unraveled into this much more in-depth investigation.
That is correct. Yes, that's correct. It's once the shooting was completed, detectives started to notice quite a few improprieties in some of the folks that were ancillary to this investigation, and which led them to make a phone call to our partners in the federal government and said, would you guys be interested? And to their credit, they said absolutely, and that brings us to where we are today.
So tell me about the gang, because obviously you've encountered them before. What kind of activities have they been involved in? What kind of people?
Drugs, shooting, typical gang stuff. Drugs, shooting, narcotic sales, obviously, and now PPR fraud. I can tell you that's not something that we typically run across, but during the time, you'll remember, that was just prior to COVID, and this PPR happened before the shooting happened. So when they found the details of that, they certainly made a phone call and led us to where we are today. So that's, as I said, you don't typically see that involved in street level criminal gangs, but you're seeing it today.
In your view, Chief, did they kind of understand that they could fund either their lives or their gang activity with this kind of fraud? I mean, did this become a main vehicle for them to keep all of this going?
Let me answer that, Chief.
Yeah, sure.
So this was just another method for them to line their pockets with money. That was really what it was. It was fraud from the outset. The applications that they filed with the SBA and the financial institutions, because this did go through legitimate financial institutions, they defrauded the financial institutions and the SBA, maintaining that they had businesses and payroll and had business expenses, and it was all not true. And so they got these short-term loans, which the federal government was giving out because we were in the middle of a pandemic and trying to keep the economy afloat. So that's what happened. But it was only with the work of the Lakeland Police Department, when they saw some of this evidence coming coming to fore after the shooting. They saw what's going on here with some of these financial improprieties.
Is this sort of a technique that you kind of are stumbling on here, that you can bust street-level gangs by going after the white-collar activity?
Well, that's an interesting thing that you raise, because I have talked to Matt Fodor about this. I mean, I have done gang work for a long time, and we have seen a major evolution of gang criminal activity into the white-collar fraud area. So, not in this case, we didn't have identity theft so much, but we now have other gangs that have started to look at using identity theft as a method for defrauding any number of entities. Is it something that has come to the fore yesterday? No, but it's relatively recent, and I will tell you that it certainly was not the case when we were doing the traditional gangs of shootings, drugs, prostitution, etc. So it's a new day, and let's be perfectly honest. I mean, they have used it as a way to garner funds in a very efficient fashion. They were smart enough to do that.
You're knocking somebody off, I guess, of a street light. Chief, if I could just ask, if you could run through some of the people here. Obviously we're not familiar with these names, but for you, I mean, are these folks rank on this gang's hierarchy? And
these are individuals we are very familiar with and we have dealt with over the years. It's funny because once the names started coming to the surface, you go back in history, and some of the folks that are in administration now work narcotics, and as they came up through the organization, they were dealing with either these folks individually when they were younger, or in some cases their relatives. So yes, we're very familiar with all these individuals that are involved. So.
How much of this gang is left? Just given this is enough,
Yeah. There's still other individuals that we're interested in, and I don't want to go into more details of that, but we're not done. We're not done. Yeah, go ahead.
Just on that score, I mean, first of all, as you can see from the 12 individuals, some are males and some are females. So some of them are actual gang members, some of them are associates. But this is just one chapter in our continuing investigation of this gang and other gangs throughout the Middle District of Florida. This investigation is not going to end with just this particular indictment. So, I don't want to say wait and see, but wait and see.
Let me ask you, because occasionally we will see drips and drabs of people being prosecuted even now for PPP loan fraud. I mean, this is something that originated in 2020. Is it taking so long to prosecute these cases or investigate these cases because there's a process by which they can repay these loans?
Of course.
And so you have to find out, are they fraudulent? And then how do you, where do we stand on that? Are there other investigations that may come to fruition as time goes on because of the time factors involved?
Without a doubt. I mean, the PPP loans, there is a shelf life on the loan. Some people got extensions on those loans, and you do have a period of time, and then there is a repayment period once the trigger point comes where you have to start paying them back. So they aren't defaulted right away. Most of these guys defaulted these right away, other than the ones that had asked for a forgiveness. But it's strung out over a several-year period until it came to the fore that this was all a fraudulent transaction, and there were no businesses and there was no payroll. And as reflected from yesterday's search warrants, where we did searches on 11 different locales in the Lakeland area, we didn't find one business record. That only supports what the indictment that had already come down reflects, that there was no business, there was no payroll, and it was a scam from the beginning.
So would you expect to see more prosecutions, not necessarily of gangs, because that's kind of an interesting wrinkle, but of individuals or groups or entities that have requested these loans? Would you expect to see more prosecutions as time evolves?
We have done quite a few already, and we will continue to do them, but I don't think that's over by a long shot. This was a pretty expansive program going on a significant period of time, allocated millions of dollars of resources, as you know. So the answer to the question is yes. We will continue to see them rolled out, and we will continue to see them rolled out in other gangs and other places in the Middle District of Florida. That I can tell you.
Chief, what had prevented you from having other evidence to arrest these folks on other charges?
Well,
how treated were they?
No. As far as what I'm going to here to tell you is that the investigation has not stopped with this. we finished this part of the investigation. The decision was made to bring this to the grand jury, and they obviously, voted to indict. But make no mistake that there is still an ongoing investigation in this area, and I just can't get into all the operational aspects of that, but it is. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
there,
you're
Chief.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Do you want to say anything more about just how you drew the straight line from the shooting? Obviously, that got a lot of attention.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it speaks to the fact that that we're open to any criminal activity when they see it, and the detectives, to their credit, not only were looking at the shooting and trying to make a nexus between who we believe to be involved in the shooting, but they were also looking for other criminal activity, and they found this. That we didn't go into this shooting looking for PPR fraud. That's not the way that occurred. But when we found it, we certainly made a phone call to our federal partners, and they were like, absolutely, to the postal inspector and everyone else. So I think it's outstanding work, to be honest with you. I'm very proud of everybody that was involved. So.
Any other questions, folks? Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks.
The U.S. Attorney, a number of other officials as well, answering questions about this gang investigation and the arrest of 12 people, 12 arrests, and they're not done yet. That's according to U.S. Attorney Greg Kehoe, talking about the arrests of 12 members of the Hood Boys gang, which is from based out of Lakeland in Polk County, arrested and charged with fraud for getting PPP loans during the COVID pandemic. They are accused of basically making up fake businesses and fake business records to get those loans that were meant to help keep people on the payroll as businesses had to shut down, make a number of adjustments during that pandemic. Instead, the officials, the attorney and the law enforcement officials we heard from today said they spent that money on cars, sporting goods, jewelry, all kinds of things, but not for business expenses, at least not like what they had said they were going to use it for in that the paperwork. And then when the time came to pay it back, they couldn't or didn't, and ended up defaulting on those loans. Also interesting to hear the U.S. Attorney talk about how it's a new day when it comes to gang crime, and seeing really a major shift when it comes to gang activity kind of taking advantage of some of these white-collar crimes as well, not necessarily the things that you always think about. Well, we are just getting started here on Fox 35 News Plus, so we're going to take a break, but we've got a lot more to get to, so keep it here on Fox Local, and we'll be right back after this.
watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I want to get you inside this meeting going on right now. This is a virtual meeting, but it is happening in Orlando right now. This is a meeting of the statewide council on opioid abatement, meeting at the JW Marriott. This is the council that works on abating the opioid crisis, coordinating state and local efforts to help with that. We're hearing some conversation and testimony right now from someone who it appears has had a family member who they lost to the opioid crisis. And so we're hearing from different people speak throughout this. We've heard a number of presentations as well. You see Sheriff Dennis Lima, who is the Seminole County Sheriff. He is the delegate chair of this committee, or this council rather. And let's go ahead and listen in as this meeting continues live right now.
For all the work that you've done from multiple avenues, law enforcement, the behavioral health that Secretary does. We develop certification programs, and we're particularly excited about number 9, to be able to get involved in a supervisor credential for the peers, which actually engages the peers. It gives them more upward mobility as they're working and developing relationships with the individuals that they're turning their lives around. So it's a magical, we're in Orlando, right? And magical moment to be part of it. And I'm just really proud to be a Floridian and watch all the leadership around the table and the good work that you guys are doing. And Secretary Hatch, I thank you for all you've done for both substance abuse and mental health while you've been at the department.
I'll turn to council members for last remarks before we conclude.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Secretary Hatch, forgive me, I did not recognize you team earlier. I do not recognize you all. And then also Major Sheeter, speaking to my colleagues next to me here in law enforcement. Also, thank you for your service and protect your community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I'm just going to echo my colleagues saying what we think sometimes. Madam Secretary, your department does not get thanked very often. Matter of fact, you're at the receiving end of some of the things that we receive in law enforcement. But the things that you're doing, we know for a fact in leadership and law enforcement that we've come a long ways together, us included. And I think, again, it starts with leadership, but also you said you're the varsity team, and I have to strongly agree with you. You have come from I'm not saying you, but the department has come from darkness to light. And because of things like this document that we just produced, those 12 priorities, I'm going to echo what the sheriff said, what our chair said, is that it's specifically addressing things that last year I felt like was generic. It's like, yeah, we're all trying to do that together. But this year, your team has put together a document saying exactly what needs to be done to move forward using those dollars wisely. So I just want to thank you and your staff. And again, this council too as well. I think you, Mr. Chair, I think you said this before. The right people are on this council, by the way. I think at the very beginning, we were trying to figure out who gets on this thing. Is it political reasons or are we doing it for the right reasons? And I think you said it right, Mr. Chair, that we're on it for the right reasons to support you, this document, and your team moving forward. Thank you. Okay, as we wrap up, I think I want to close with letting everyone know how incredibly important this is to our real chair, Attorney General James Uthmeyer. There's not an opportunity that goes by where he and I don't talk and he doesn't relay his concern and interest and how proud he is of the work that's being done on this council. And again, it's an honor for me to serve as his proxy, as it was for our former Attorney General, Senator Moody. I think that when we've seen progress, we've seen the numbers, I think that we would all agree that the hard work still lies ahead. One number is one number too many. And although we've seen great progress, and sometimes we talk in statistics, 30% decrease in this category, 29% decrease in that category, the number one cause of death of young people in this country is still
an opioid-related drug overdose, which means we are full steam ahead, doing all that we can do to make sure that we're advocating and being a voice for those families that are on this cycle and suffering. So again, thank you for being here, and we will stand adjourned.
That meeting coming to an end. They met for, I'm trying to think, a couple of hours, I guess it was. Saw a number of presentations as well from first responders dealing with opioid emergencies, covered a number of topics in that meeting going on this morning. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Fox 35 was the only station there as a murder suspect was taken into custody last night. That suspect was arrested late last night, a man accused of killing another man at a hotel in Osceola County. Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie has the details.
Homicide investigators had been searching for this suspect since early Wednesday morning, and it even put out a warning to the public saying he was armed and dangerous. Now he is behind bars, charged with murder with a firearm. Now you can take a look at this exclusive video showing Shazaib Ahmed Khan getting walked into jail. Investigators say Khan shot and killed another man in the chest at the Urlo Hotel early Wednesday morning around 1 a.m. The victim was identified as 37-year-old David Donahue Alion of Orlando. Last night, authorities found and arrested Khan in Tangelo Park. We are working to learn when he is scheduled to make his first appearance before a judge in court. We'll be sure to let you know that information as soon as we have it. Reporting from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Amanda McKenzie, Fox 35 News.
Certainly an investigation that we will stay on top of and try to learn some more details. Well, tonight, Seminole High School in Sanford will honor an alumnus fighting for his life in the hospital. We're talking about Ethan Pritchard, the freshman linebacker from Florida State University who was shot over the weekend in Gadsden County. And there's still so much we don't know about the circumstances of that shooting. We know FDLE is investigating. We've not gotten any information about a suspect or the situation, what might have happened, but we do know Ethan has been in the ICU fighting for his life. His family been there by his side since that shooting happened. Ethan is from Sanford. He went to Seminole High School, and tonight is the Seminoles' first football game since that shooting happened. They play Lyman tonight and plan to honor him. And Fox 35's Amanda Ruiz has more, including some reaction from Ethan's former football coach at Seminole High School.
Oh yeah, the shooting happened near Tallahassee after FSU beat Alabama, but here at Seminole High School, they're standing behind their former alumni and saying that they're going to plan and throw this whole thing for him at the football game and honor him in that way by giving donations. Now, the head football coach says that they're praying for his full recovery. Coach Carl Calhoun Jr. was his coach at Seminole High School. He set up the GoFundMe page, which now has raised over $101,000. At tonight's games, attendees will have the chance to donate. There will also be shirts available for purchase that will go towards the rehabilitation. After starring for Seminole High School, Pritchard committed to Florida State. Investigators say he was driving his aunt home and after the Seminoles beat Alabama when someone shot him. Calhoun says he's been in contact with Pritchard's family.
Just something you never want to happen to anybody, let alone someone you love. So it was devastating. We believing in God and believing in his strength and ability, and we just got to continue to pray for him and hope everything transpires how it needs to go.
And again, it's just amazing that they have raised already over $101,000 at the GoFundMe. If you would like to donate anything, we'll have that link on our website and also on our Fox Local app. Reporting in Seminole County, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 35 News.
Yeah, it's certainly been an outpouring of support for that young man, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. I can't really even imagine what they're going through to get that news just out of nowhere and to be dealing with this. So certainly hoping for a full recovery for Ethan. We're continuing to try to learn some more details as well. Give you a live look right now, downtown Orlando on this Friday morning. A beautiful sight of the city, beautiful as we get ready to head into the weekend. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now. And Brooks, how are we looking for that for the weekend here in Central Florida?
You know, Garrett, it's going to be kind of mixed, but overall pretty decent. We're going to have kind of a funny setup that we've experienced the last couple of days where a lot of the rain stays south of the Orlando area. We have just been on the edge of this dry air in the upper levels. Unfortunately, it doesn't translate to the ground where it feels less humid, at least in Orlando, but it does reduce our rain chances. Where you see the yellow is all that dry air. The deeper moisture is down in South Florida. And so once again, we're going to be teeter-tottering on the edge of that really humid weather, and that's going to result in some storms, mainly south of Orlando, focusing locally in Brevard County and maybe down toward Osceola County. We've seen a northeast flow and some occasional showers around Brevard County this morning and this afternoon. Is no different, and that flow continues out of the northeast. So we'll see a lot of that action working down toward Kenansville in Osceola County, and then maybe around Four Corners, maybe around the attractions. But for the most part, Orlando, Sanford, and definitely Ocala and Gainesville stay dry today. This is good news for the football games tonight because we shouldn't have too many issues, but there's a chance on the coast, especially in Brevard County, that some of the showers stick around through the evening, on and off. So for the games in Cocoa and in Titusville and in Palm Bay and Melbourne, there is a chance for rain this evening. But for the Fox 35 Friday Night Blitz, that's in Bithlo, it should stay dry, at least according to our indications. We've got a 40% chance for rain in Orange County and a 50% chance for rain to get into Brevard and Osceola counties, and then an 80% chance down towards South Florida. So if you have any travel plans to Miami, get ready for some periodic rain. If you're going north toward UF and Gainesville, it's going to be great, just not a drop in the sky. And this pattern really continues for most of the weekend. All right, looking at the tropics, this is going to be the talk of the town here for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, at least a week and a half to 2 weeks, because we've got a system way out there in the eastern Atlantic. Right now, it's struggling with Saharan dust, slowing its development, but the National Hurricane Center insists that this still has a 90% chance to develop in the next 7 days, about a 60% chance in the next 2 days. A tropical depression possible this weekend, maybe a storm. And then for next week, we're expecting, based on the computer models, at least a tropical storm to form, which then may impact the islands of the Caribbean, specifically the Windwards and more likely the Leeward Islands. That's over there in the Lesser Antilles, around St. Lucia, Dominica, Guadeloupe, up through Antigua, and maybe into the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and St. Croix near Puerto Rico by the middle and especially end of next week. The models take it west. The problem with the system, and it's good news, is that it is battling dry air, and that's limiting its fast and rapid development. There's also some wind shear in the atmosphere. Now, in the long-range forecast, this is where it gets really uncertain because just so much can happen in 2 weeks. Think about the uncertainty in a 7-day forecast, much less a a 14-day forecast. That uncertainty is that we're going to have interaction with land over the islands, as well as various incursions of wind shear and the potential impacts of that dry air. But if it was hypothetically to hold together, we may be looking at that system in our general vicinity, our theater of operation here in the Southwest Atlantic around the 18th. So today's the 5th. So, I mean, we've got a couple of weeks to worry about this, and we'll know much more as we get closer to it. But that's the timing. Looks like by Thursday of next week, it'll arrive in the islands, and then maybe by the weekend heading into Puerto Rico, and the week to follow, week 2, at that point, it'll start to push into Cuba and maybe into our neck of the woods if it was to survive. We'll see. Still a jury out on that. Okay, let's talk 7-day forecast into the weekend. If you're going to the beaches, you'll be good to go in the mornings. Just watch out for some storms in the afternoons, about a 50 to 60% chance. We're back up to the more likely rain chances as we head into early next week. Otherwise, Garrett, temperatures remain normal for this time of year. Highs around 90 with lows in the mid-70s.
And so, nice to have a weekend that's might be a little bit drier for us.
Exactly, especially north of Orlando. So if you want to go for a long walk in the woods or hiking, the Ocala National Forest is always a good attraction, and if we're lucky, we might even catch some lower humidity up that way.
Hey, sounds like a good idea then. Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Brooks Garner, we appreciate you joining us.
You got it. My pleasure as always. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
And as we head to break here on Fox 35 News Plus, leave you a live look at Daytona Beach from the Hard Rock Hotel camera. And looks like a good number of people out there right now just enjoying it this morning. Not too crowded, not too much going on. See some chairs set up, people just enjoying the sand and the surf on this Friday. Keep it right here. More Fox 35 News Plus after this. Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Another live look at Daytona Beach from our Hard Rock Hotel camera. Some folks may be getting an early start on the weekend, but for the rest of us, just a few hours left here on this Friday, and we appreciate you joining us here on Fox Local. Big news yesterday from a federal court where an appeals court ruled that Alligator Alcatraz can stay open. That it was the announcement after a previous lower court judge had ordered that it would have to close within 60 days, I believe, and kind of wind down those operations. So some state leaders, Governor DeSantis, the Attorney General, have been taking a little bit of a victory lap today with that latest news as that case continues. Governor DeSantis was on Fox News last night, and he joined Sean Hannity to talk about Alligator Alcatraz. And they also talked a lot about California Governor Gavin Newsom. Here is some of that interview last night on Hannity.
To Florida, my governor, Ron DeSantis. Governor, how are you?
I'm great, Sean. You know, I appreciate you pointing out Alligator Alcatraz. We set that up in record time. It was huge to help expand the mission and fulfill the mission for President Trump to increase deportations. We did have a leftist judge, and the media said, oh, it's closed, they're done. And I said, first of all, never closed. We have illegals there. The deportations were continuing. But I said the mission will continue. We're going to win. And so predictably, we did. And so they have egg on their face yet again. And we're not only doing Alligator Alcatraz, we've now opened the deportation depot up in Northeast Florida. And we're working on opening a Panhandle Pokey up in Northwest Florida.
All right, what do you make? I mean, we had the big debate with you and Gavin Newsom. You got to know him, I guess, pretty well that night. He's now, from my observation, I see a part-time governor. I don't see anybody that's hands-on. What happened in the Pacific Palisades, that would be the equivalent of you not being prepared for a predictable hurricane during hurricane season. Florida does get hit with hurricanes. He's spending all his time being Governor Tweety Bird, Governor Podcaster, Governor Trolling Trump, I hate Trump, Governor Wannabe Trump. What's going on with your friend Gavin?
Well, Sean, you know, I look at the Democratic Party now. I don't think you've ever had a political party that's less popular. I think they have like a 19% approval rating. They got drubbed in the 2024 election. Joe Biden, their president, was a failure. And they're doubling down on the things that people don't like about them. They're doubling down on open borders. They're always attacking President Trump for doing border security and immigration enforcement. They're doubling down on the gender insanity and the mutilation of minors. So they haven't learned anything. And so what you have Governor Newsom doing is he's kowtowing to those folks who represent the 18% who are out of step with the rest of America. He's getting more popular with them, but I think in the process, turning off middle America. And that's the thing. California, they have so many natural advantages. All these industries that have happened, he'll cite those. He had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with Silicon Valley or any of this other stuff. People recognize the stuff that's happened in California over the year that has been positive, but yet California as governance now has become a punchline. People know when you mention California, you're talking about unhinged leftist government. And the fact that they're thinking about reimposing COVID restrictions, that's just the icing on the cake. You've got to be kidding me.
Okay, so he might be able to cleverly appeal to the radical left that's taken over his party, maybe get the nomination. It seems clear the moment he walked in that Oval Office when Biden was president, flipped that jacket slickly over his back, that he was picking out the drapes. However, he'd have to win a general election. The questions that I am raising would be, do you want America to become California? How does the nation weigh in on that?
Well, I don't think there's any question because we already know how people have weighed in. They had never lost population in the entire history of California. I remember growing up in Florida, I always viewed California as the place you'd aspire to go to. I was in the Navy active duty at NAB Coronado. Beautiful place, and yet they're hemorrhaging population. It's not because California all of a sudden has bad weather or they don't have good stuff to offer. It's because of the leftist policies. They're now synonymous with homelessness. They're synonymous with weak on crime policies, and they're synonymous with high taxes and really profligate spending. Right. So I don't think that dog's going to hunt nationally. But, you know, the reality is he's trying to curry favor with a very far left base of that party, which is not popular across the fruited plain.
We have less than a minute. In Florida now, you're talking about ending all mandatory vaccinations. Tell us about it.
Well, we believe in informed consent. We believe in parents' rights. You know, you have other countries like the United Kingdom and Sweden that have zero mandates, yet they have very high vaccination uptake. Their kids are healthy. And so we've seen public health abuse its authority over the years during COVID, trying to be very restrictive. And I think it's turned a lot of people off. And so our view is we want parents to be able to make the best decisions with them and their doctor about their kids' health. I know as a parent, that's what I would appreciate. And so we want to make sure informed consent and medical freedom rule the day.
That was Governor DeSantis last night on Hannity on the Fox News channel. I want to let you know one other thing we are monitoring at this hour, and that is an injunction hearing going on in Columbia County involving Congressman Corey Mills, who is accused of sending threats to his ex-girlfriend, Lindsay Langston, Miss United States. That hearing went for about an hour and a half or so and is now in a bit of a break. I believe they are going to resume this afternoon. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth is inside that courtroom. We're not allowed to live stream the proceedings by the rules of the Columbia County Courthouse, but we will have updates later today from inside the courtroom there. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. UCF gearing up for their second game of the season coming up this weekend at the Bounce House. So they are coming off a 17-10 win over Jacksonville State last Thursday in that game that was delayed by the weather. Let's hope the weather cooperates a little bit better tomorrow night here in Orlando for that game against North Carolina A&T. The Knights taking on the Aggies. And this afternoon in the Fox 35 Sports Zone, you will get to see a breakdown of the matchup and everything you need to know heading into that game. I recorded that with Fox 35 sports reporter Jonah Karp. We kind of break down the matchup and take a look at a lot of the different aspects of the game, including the running backs and what the rushing attack from the Knights needs to look like moving forward. Saw a good first week from Miles Montgomery, but going to need some other players to step up, and that's something Jonah and I talked about in the Fox 35 Sports Zone.
Fun.
Fun. Football is fun. It was also fun for Miles Montgomery, his first collegiate start, and the only running back on this Knights team to have positive yardage in that game.
Yeah, and this was a big curiosity going into this season, how the Knights would respond to the loss of R.J. Harvey. This was a very, very good, frankly, one of the best rushing attacks in all of college football last year. Now you lose a guy to the NFL. How do you respond? How do you replicate that, or at least get somewhere close to replicating that? We knew going into this game that Miles Montgomery was going to be the bell cow, or at least the feature back. And who would step up behind him was anybody's guess. It was nobody. It was nobody in the first game. So could you operate with a singular running back doing everything, carrying the entire workload? Maybe. Is it better to have multiple guys? Definitely. And it certainly opens up all sorts of opportunities in the passing game as well if you have an effective rushing attack.
21 carries for 79 yards against Jack State for Miles Montgomery. Nixon had 2 carries for -6 yards. Thomas Jr. 2 carries for -7 yards.
That's the wrong direction.
That is the wrong direction. And moving forward, is this a concern? Is this something that they should be worried about, or is this just first game of the year, the weather delay, all the different factors that we're talking about here?
It becomes a concern when it becomes a pattern. You don't develop a pattern after one game. So if this happens again this week, maybe it starts to become a concern, considering this is a victory, at least on paper. So this is an area that should be focused on, and considering you only had one guy step up in the running back room, this is the perfect game to make sure that other guys step up, maybe just give other guys opportunities so they get comfortable getting the handoff, and we'll see. If it is much of the same this week, then it becomes a concern.
And now Miles Montgomery, we know a big part of this offense. Coach Frost called him a warrior for staying in the game and kind of handling the main share of the running duties. Here's what Coach Frost said about Montgomery this week.
Miles is our clear-cut leader on the entire team, and he's a really good player. We just can't run him into the ground. So the game stayed close, and we kept him out there a lot. But I trust Jaden Nixon. I trust Stacey Gage. I trust AG. So some other guys that I want to see get some chances. And we'll still continue to use Miles, but he needs a break once in a while.
Obviously, none of us are perfect, and he obviously had some plays that he'd like back. But Miles, it's 100% all the time. And that's been really cool to see. And I think the best thing about that is his teammates being able to see that on tape. And we showed the entire offense, okay, see this play. Obviously, it's a big-time play by the quarterback and D. Wade, but look at what the effort looks like. Where 22 is playing through the echo with a whistle, selfless. And we want to see more of that. And it's not like the guys are neglecting to do that. We just need to get those guys an opportunities to finish the play.
He's awesome. He's a funny guy. He's awesome in the locker room. I can talk to him very well, and he's just a great teammate. Just an awesome guy. I like to be around with, and I trust him.
One of his linemen there saying that he trusts him. We also know that Paul there said he ate 4 or 5 Jersey Mike subs during that 2-hour weather delay last week. So you got to think that maybe another weather delay this week can help the offensive line get that extra fuel they need to kind of push and create those running lanes for Miles.
And help Jersey Mike's.
And also help Jersey Mike's, yeah. I thought it was interesting to hear Coach Frost say, though, they want to be careful not to run Miles Montgomery into the ground.
Yes.
Literally, by giving him too many carries.
Yeah.
So how do they kind of balance that?
Well, you got to spread the wealth. That's the key to that. You got, and this is what they were talking about. You need to have guys to carry the workload when Miles Montgomery is tired, and when he's been taking the ball for 4 drives in a row. you need other guys to step up. You need guys who you trust in the backfield. It didn't come in week 1. This is another week, another chance for trust to develop, guys to get a little bit more comfortable, and in a few weeks, hopefully they'll have more options out of the backfield.
We talked about his 79 yards rushing. He also had 71 receiving yards that led the team. How important is having kind of that dual threat from Montgomery, rushing and receiving? How important is that to the look of this UCF offense?
Well, I mean, it certainly opens up more opportunities out of the playbook. I think one of those plays was for 60-something yards. So there was a big chunk within that 70, which I think was also a career long for him. If he's a true dual threat running back, that would be awesome. You know, it's great when you have somebody you could check it down to when everyone's covered down the field. I mean, it's certainly not a bad thing. And if other guys could prove that, my FB just fell out of my ear. If other guys can prove to be that effective, or at least offer the same type of ability in the passing game, that's even better.
So what do you want to see from this rushing attack against North Carolina A&T? You said this is kind of the game to really try to see maybe what works and what doesn't when it comes to getting some of these other running backs involved.
Yeah, just go after them. Run it down their throats. You know, you can pick up a couple of chunk plays. You open up a play action for Taven Jackson. You get him comfortable running the play action, and I mean, just spread the wealth as much as you can. Get guys comfortable, and I think that's the best course of action going into week 3. The more guys who can get comfortable taking snaps, the more guys who get comfortable in the backfield, is only a good thing, and will only continue to be a good thing moving forward.
So UCF and the NC Aggies, 7:00 p.m. That's tomorrow night at the Acrisure Bounce House here in Orlando. Well, I was going to say should be a win for the Knights, and it should be. You can get our full predictions and breakdown in the Fox 35 Sports Zone. If you missed it last night, so that streamed last night at 7:30. If you missed it last night, we're going to run it again today at 3:30. You'll also be able to watch that on demand on Fox Local and on fox35orlando.com. More of our conversation with Jonah, and here's some more from Coach Frost, some of the other players as well, ahead of this Week 2 matchup tomorrow night at UCF. Want to let you know a couple of other things. We're just about out of time here on Fox 35 News Plus, but something that we're standing by for at noon. We do expect to hear from Regina Hill, the suspended commissioner. Hold on, I've got a video clip here, but it's not wanting to play for some reason, so I'm not going to be able to play that. But Regina Hill, the suspended Orlando City Commissioner, she was arrested in March of 2024, and she's facing charges in connection with a fraud and elderly exploitation case. She did, back in March of this year, file to run for re-election for her seat. So today, I believe it's at noon, finding out whether she is eligible, whether she is confirmed to be able to run for that seat, officially gets that a kind of official qualification in notice effectively. And so that's supposed to happen around noon. And then shortly after that, so in just about a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes from now, we do expect to hear from her. She plans to address reporters, talk about a number of things. You'd expect her to address these charges against her, something that she will be asked about, and no doubt, in this re-election campaign as she tries to get her seat back as a commissioner of District 5. Now, I mentioned she was suspended. Governor DeSantis did suspend her in April of 2024, shortly after her arrest on those charges in connection with this case that continues to move forward as well. So we will see what happens from that, and we expect to hear shortly from Regina Hill. We are out of time, though, here for Fox 35 News Plus in this 11 o'clock hour. as we stand by and wait to hear more from Regina Hill. Let me give you a live look at downtown Orlando on this Friday morning. Hope you have a great afternoon. We'll be back in a few minutes with more coverage, so keep it here on Fox Local.